This channel is proudly sponsored by the Era Kaiju Kickstarter, a tabletop RPG where you play as a kaiju, defending its territory from other giant monsters. Please check out the links in the description and in the pinned comment. Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring Monster Wrangler, the core rulebook. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review, featuring this tabletop RPG, where you race, train, and fight alongside your monsters, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about types of actions. There are a number of common actions that characters can take. They are divided in general categories. In the case of move actions, you have things such as movement, stand up, give or take item, and interact. In the case of standard actions, we have attack, disengage, use a skill, use an item, recover. When it comes to reactions, you have advance, which can only be performed by monsters. There is also detect and opportunity attack. In the case of instance, you have drop item and speak, which only humans can do. Let's talk about some of these actions. Each character has a listed movement when it comes to the action of movement that indicates how far it can move across open ground. A character can use this action to move a distance up to its movement. In addition, some monsters have other movement types that allow them to move in unusual ways, such as flying or swimming. Concerning attack, when a character tries to use one of its skills or techniques to harm or otherwise hinder someone else, it is said to be making an attack. After it chooses what skill or technique it is using to make the attack, and paying any necessary rage costs if a technique is being used, the character chooses a target. By default, most attacks are direct attacks, meaning that they target a single opponent within a certain range. Many attacks have a range of melee. By default, melee range is assumed to be 5 feet, though this can be altered by various traits or abilities. So you have details when it comes to area of attack as well, the range, the line of sight, and so forth. Once the target or targets of the attack have been chosen, the attacking character makes a skill roll or tech roll, as appropriate. Humans use skill rolls to attack with weapons, while monsters use tech rolls to attack with their techniques. The difficulty of the skill or tech roll is equal to either the target's defense, DF, or willpower, WP, as listed in the description of the skill or technique being used. Attacks that physically affect a target are resisted by defense, while those that affect it mentally are resisted by willpower. On a success, the target is affected by the attack and suffers its effects. On a failure, the attack misses and the target is not affected. If an attack has multiple targets, the attacking character makes a single roll and compares it to the DF or WP of every character in the area of effect, as appropriate. This means that an area attack might not affect every target in range. You have other actions such as disengage, which allows a character to cautiously retreat from combat, avoiding attacks of opportunity. When it comes to recover, this allows a character to recover from a status condition that is affecting it. It represents a character trying to bind their bleeding wounds, regain their senses, pat out the flames that are burning them, and so forth. There is also advance. The advance reaction allows a monster to spend 1 rage to move up to half its movement towards an opponent. During this movement, the monster can maneuver around obstacles, terrain, or other characters, but it must end its movement as close to an opponent as possible. And these are just a few of the details of some of the actions and reactions. When it comes to techniques and rage, monsters have access to techniques, powerful combat maneuvers that allow them to shoot spikes, channel electricity, or invoke other semi-supernatural effects to help their allies or harm their enemies. To use a technique, a monster must first spend rage equal to that technique's rage cost. If it cannot do so, then the monster cannot use that technique. Monsters begin combat with 0 rage. During the generate rage step of its turn, a monster generates 2 rage, provided that it is participating in the combat. Monsters that are not involved in a battle do not generate rage, though they will generate rage normally if they join the battle on a later round. A monster can only possess a maximum of 10 rage at any one time. If a monster would generate rage above this limit, any excess rage is lost without effect. At the end of a battle, the rage of each participating monster drops to 0 as it calms down. It's also important to note that when a monster uses a technique and pays that technique's rage cost, it may spend up to 5 additional rage to enhance its dice pool. For each additional point of rage spent in this way, the monster adds 1 die to its dice pool when making its tech roll for that technique. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about sizes, bonded limits, and effect durations. When it comes to the actions taken in combat, they can accommodate any sort of maneuver, tactic, or technique, and it is resolved in a very simple way. Thank you for watching this part of the review. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. This has been Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. If you want me to run a game for you, please check out the pinned comment below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you and see you later.